Hello and welcome to Walking This Way's Impact Was podcast, the show impacting the culture, shaping the generation. I'm Fermi Jackson Jr. I'm your host, the CEO and founder of Walking This Way's Impact Was podcast. Along with me in the studio this morning is Lady D Desiree. How are you doing this morning?
I am feeling motivated. Yesterday I, of course, went and did my um, lipo injections to my stomach, drinking the, in case she's watching and checking up to make sure I'm following, drinking my tea, following my diet. So I'm ready to see what happens over the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, so you say you may be being police this morning. That's what you're saying?
Oh yeah, she may very well. She's. So Dorothy with Precise Glow is my accountability partner in this as well. So she definitely said she'll be keeping eyes on me to make sure that I'm sticking to the plan, and I definitely don't want to let her down, and so I'm sticking to it.
Man, that's what's up right there. I know you were meant for you on the show about the procedure that you went through on yesterday, and you here with us today, and we appreciate you as always. You are a warrior, you are a fighter. No matter how your schedule looks, you still always make ways to be on the show, and I do appreciate you for that.
Well, thank you. Like I said earlier, lashes and lip gloss. We're ready to go. We're going to conquer the world today.
Well,
Yes.
we're very excited, Desiree, because in today's episode, we will discuss All Eyes on Me with Francis Sherri. We'll discuss the ins and outs of life and times of her. So our guest today is Francis Sherri. She's a mother first with a very impressive resume, such as first responder, model, actress, video vixen, performer, with a passion for making great content. She's going to share with us All Eyes on Me. So hi, Francis. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, how are y'all?
We doing great. We thank you for taking time out your productive schedule to hang out with us this morning as you take us on this journey of who you are, take us behind the scenes of your life, the things you're doing. Like I mentioned earlier, you have a very impressive resume from first responder to being a mother, all that. So my question is, how do you do it all?
I don't know. I just honestly, whatever I put my mind to, I find a way to make time and do it. Um, I truly believe in whatever you want to do and whatever you want to be, you can, but you have to be dedicated enough to do it. So, um, in the midst of all of my busy schedules and things that I have to do, I just find a way. I do one thing, I might squeeze this in, and then just go from there.
Man, that's what's up on Desiree.
I was just going to say, too, I think, just being a single mom myself, like you just kind of don't have an option, right? Like it has to get done, and you can only count on yourself to make sure that that's taken care of. Luckily my kids are
Yeah.
grown now, but I definitely spent that time of saying, like, even when you're tired, you get up and do it. When you're sick, you just get up and do it. Or
Yeah.
when somebody doubts you, you get your ass up and you do it, right? That's
Yes.
like my best motivation. You tell me I can't, and I'm going to show you just who you doubted.
Yes. And you said it perfectly. What's funny is when you said, you kind of don't have a choice, it's true. You don't, because who's going to do it if you don't? And when I think about it, before I was a single mom, I wasn't doing as near as many of the things as I'm doing right now. So it's actually impressive to me as well, because I never thought that I would be able to do everything I've always desired, even the extra things I never thought of, that I'm doing now. So it's actually, it is impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I applaud you for it. I mean, sometimes we put ourselves on the back burner, and but really I think for me, even when I've got a lot on my plate and I'm doing a lot, it's not really necessarily putting me on the back burner. Like it's what I have the drive to do. It's my passion, and it's like what makes me feel like I'm out there doing what I'm called to do. It's like what's my
Yeah.
purpose, right?
Yeah.
So it is good health, but I mean we still have to take that time that we say, okay, today's the day I'm just going to focus on relaxing and something for me. So
Yes, absolutely.
And of course, you are a young age. You're the age of 30. And just
Hmm.
going over your information, your background that you had sent me, and also I shared with Desiree as well. When you mentioned something, you didn't say just a single mother. You said a strong single mother.
Strong.
So, what resonate with you when you hear that word strong single mother?
Everything that I have ever endured and been through, and where I am today, and the outcome, it clarifies the strength that I have. And I think I learned a lot of that. I get a lot of that from my mom because just growing up, seeing her do everything that she did, she never, like, I don't even recall ever seeing her cry. And I'm sensitive, I'm emotional, so I'm going to cry. But um, I learned strength from her, and I know that within that strength, she kept fighting. And that's what I had to do.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think, we definitely learned from those that we've, watched as we grew. Um, you know, if you haven't watched before on the show, of course, I didn't have a mom, and here I am going to be 44 next month, and now I just try to,
44.
yeah, 44.
You look amazing.
Look at it's some lashes, girl. I'm telling you, some lashes. Look at they trick you every time. No, so but for like my granddaughter, I want her to see that you could be strong no matter where you come from. You can. My niece, who's so dear and near to my heart, she's 9, and I'm like her mom to her. So I know she's watching me. So I tell her all the time, like, you can be anything you want to be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender role would normally play that. Like, if that's what you want to do, you push forward to it. You can do it. Like, don't. The only person that's going to stop you is yourself.
Yes. Yeah. It's blowing my mind that you say granddaughter. I can't. Like,
yeah, she's actually going to be 2 on June the 12th. And so, yep.
Yes.
A grandma now. I just want some more grandbabies. So,
yeah.
Look, now that's what I want is more grandbabies. But, I'm going to patiently wait.
I'm a young grandma because my daughter, she carries her little teddy bears around and she calls that her kids. So.
Listen, I will say, enjoy every minute of them while they're at that age.
Yes.
I often will, say I wish I'd give anything for one more day that I could watch the boys play sports. Even all those years that I was bitching because it was freezing cold and the rain turned to ice hitting you and your bones are hurting, and at the time you're thinking, gosh, why are we having this game? I would do anything to sit on the football field or the soccer field. I would love to be at a track meet. Like, I would love to just have those days back. But now we're at a fun stage. Now it's, of course, the grandkids, and then they're the designated drivers. So it kind of works out.
Yes, I can't wait for that part. I do not like driving in Dallas. Like, it's the worst. And my job is about an hour from where I live, and then not to mention traffic, so it ends up being more. It's
look at
one of them woosah moments. You just have.
Oh, I think we accidentally lost her. Somebody could have been trying to call her too. Sometimes that happens, and it'll knock them off.
I know, right? But we're gonna carry on this.
Yeah, we'll wait until she comes back on.
Yeah.
But she's so right. Like, it's definitely one of those situations where you don't have an option, but you don't look at it like I don't have an option. You just look at it as like, it's you got to take care of business. You
got to.
Even whenever you feel like, this is not the day, I still find myself saying, like, if I don't do it today, then it's just extra work for tomorrow. We can see you now. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're perfectly fine.
Let me see if I can put my do not disturb on. I got a call.
Yeah, that's what I actually said. I said she probably got a call. And so, but I just guess another thing is too, every morning when I read the devotional and stuff, I just say I'm thankful for another day that I am able to get up and serve. I'm able, I'm thankful that I've been able to provide for my family as a single mom.
Yes.
And so you got to count your blessings more than you have to think about I didn't want to, or I hate this. So you just find that drive in you.
You have to. Yeah, that leads up too, because I know she mentioned that she recently overcame many obstacles leading to her current life and living situation. So what obstacles that you went through to lead to where you at today?
Ooh, now we get into the juicy part. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, that's how we is on the show.
Well, coming from a 10-year marriage.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 10 years. I got married at a young age, but
I've
that's
been married before too. I've been divorced since 2017. So
yeah. So that's that's what I wanted at that time, and just dealing with the ins and outs of a relationship. I got married young, so sometimes you think you know what you want,
yeah.
and then you might not really know, or you think you know someone and you really didn't see every side of them that you should have seen forefront. So just dealing with that. In the midst of that, there was the infidelities, and just even if it didn't have stuff to do with other people, a lot of things that you learn about yourself as you grow, like as far as stuff, like your parenting, your style of parenting, who you want to be, your goals in life, things that you look forward to doing, and um, that you want to reach. If that person is not on the same page with you, then it gets harder. It gets harder. And then when you give chance after chance for all the other issues, those infidelities and all other stuff, and it doesn't stop. Even, going through it at some of the worst times. I had postpartum depression with my daughter. She's the younger one, so she was my second pregnancy, and just not having a support in that, just knowing that you're asking for the support, you're begging, and it wasn't there. Those things stick with you, and it kind of shows the truth beyond that, within that person that you're dealing with. So just like that was one thing that was a scary moment for me because of how I felt about myself. Just, I don't think people take postpartum depression seriously. Um, and men per se don't understand it, I think.
I
So
also
when
think
you
we
are open enough to say how you're feeling and you tell the other person, it's very important to pay attention to it and be mindful of your partner and try to confide within them and figure out in which ways you can help them. So I had to get through that by myself all the while someone else was being entertained. Um,
Wow.
which
yeah.
builds that resentment, and
Yes.
so it does. And I'm going to back up to before you cut off, that commute thing. So up until just recently, it was 3 hours for me into work, 3 hours home every day. So I get that whole commute thing on top of your work day. I'm 6 hours on the road, right? And so now I've cut it down, to about 2 hours to get to work with traffic. But it's but as far as like even that, even if aside from if there wasn't the infidelity, it's still when you're like you said, when you think you know what you want, but you're young. We like the idea of marriage, right? We like that
Mhm.
what we had hoped to, but really, what do we like? We're young, like we really don't know. We don't know where our
Right.
lives are going to go. We don't even really fully know what. I mean, I didn't go to college until right before my 35th birthday,
Mhm.
and then it was just kind of like bam, like this is what I'm going to do. So I got that 6-year degree in 3 years. Like I was like, so and I was like, I'm not going to stop at my associates. Like I'm going to get so I ended up getting my master's, and so but that changed me as a person. Getting that education, the opportunities for job that may not have actually aligned with my first husband, and I was with him for 18 years, and and it,
Mhm.
even though we didn't work and there wasn't the infidelity, it was a lot about a growth thing too, right?
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
were young. I got with him when I was 17, and we just had, and it doesn't make him a bad person. It doesn't make that the
Right.
marriage is a bad thing. Now when it comes to infidelity, we're going to say that's a bad thing. Like I'm not trying to minimize that part at all. I'm
Yes.
saying if we took all that other stuff out, sometimes people just grow, and sometimes that journey's not growing together.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so it's life, right?
It is life. It's a part of life. It's unfortunate, but how I honestly feel is no matter the temptation out there, no matter how beautiful a woman is or how handsome a man is, if you sincerely love that person, and that's your person, there should be nothing to take you away from them. There should be nothing to bring you in the light of temptation and make you commit adultery against that person. I'm
Right.
like,
And
of course, throughout my marriage, I seen a bunch of handsome people walk around, but it's one thing to acknowledge someone and be like, oh, she's pretty, or oh, he's a good looking guy. But when you actually fantasize and you feed into it, that's when it becomes different.
And the thing about that too is it's not even, it's like, not only did you just disrespect me, but you disrespected yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's like the biggest thing is that, you know, people aren't stopping and thinking. It's not just, I mean, and in this case you have kids, so, you know, you've disrespected your children, you know,
Yeah.
and so it is a big thing to say, like, you know, you, and I'm not opposed to look, like, baby, look, if my man's looking right, like, you can look all you want. I know, I want to be confident knowing that it wouldn't matter
Right.
what situation comes. He knows who he's coming home to, and that's
Mm-hmm.
worth anything more than what some flattering girl can whisper to his ears, right?
Right. Right.
Then again, I am single, so look, so this
Hey,
is
you know what?
speaking.
It is what it is. When your guy is supposed to come around, he will come. He will show up, and you're gonna know it.
I'm gonna let that be in God's. I'm gonna be letting that in God's hands. And so, good morning, Anthony. And so, but I think it's also the fact of, you know, it wouldn't matter, like you said, it doesn't matter who's in front of you and what that temptation is. It's also about the fact that you made that commitment.
Yeah.
You know,
I just want to say hi really quick to Diana. I know her, so
yeah, absolutely.
I just saw her pop on.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. But I think that you know, this is where something else we talk about too is about, you know, that open communication. Seeing a lot of people that are stepping out in their marriage because of that open communication thing, and how, you know, if you're like women, and, you know, I'm not throwing shade to females, but let's be honest. So like with women, instead of thinking that we can just go and talk to our partner and like a true talk, don't hint. Don't like think that hinting's going to get it right. You need to be vocal. You need to say what your needs are. You need to say this. I'm not saying that guy's going to automatically just cave to that, but if you don't give him that opportunity, they're not mind readers. But instead, a lot of females tend to go and find that one dude that's going to listen to everything that they have to say. And of course, he's going to sit there and tell you everything you want to hear. Oh, baby, I would never treat you like that if you were my woman. If you were my girl, you know. And so then, of course, you're thinking like, you're not even, by that time, you've already checked out and trying to work it out in your marriage with your husband, you know.
Yes.
You've already let this, and it's the same thing, you know, if a guy's not getting enough at home, you know, and then this other woman's sitting there, you know, throwing it at him, of course he's going to be thinking, like, we need to learn to communicate. That's period. You just have to learn to say, this is what I want. If you aren't getting enough attention, if you need more love versus sex, I mean, I don't care what it is. Like, I think we all need more sex, but I think sex solves a lot of things. So, but be vocal about it, talk about it, you know, but spend that time with your partner, invest in your partner just as much as they've been investing in you. Yeah. And I, you know, I'm sorry that you went through, of course, the postpartum thing. And I agree with you there too. I don't think men are ever going to truly understand that. We can explain it to them. They can watch videos, they can read a book about it, but truly, you know, and the way that every woman handles postpartum is differently.
It is different.
So I don't think you can say a textbook can explain that for them to truly know and understand what that feels like. But definitely, you know, I commend you for sticking through it. And, you know, a lot of moms don't. So thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely. And like you said, communication, that I think that is the number one issue in many relationships. People don't know how to communicate. When they try to communicate, it's talking over each other and yelling. So that means when you're doing that, you're not really listening to the other person to grasp what they're saying. So you can come to a mutual understanding and try to figure out how to solve this problem. So that is like number one for me. Communication's a huge thing. That's something that I'm gonna need, because I don't need the yelling and all of this. We are adults, so we should be able to communicate like adults and, you know, dispute our problems in an adultly manner. So,
well, it's, and a lot of times when you say, you know, hey, can we talk? Or hey, I need to talk to you about something, automatically the opposite person has that wall up. They're thinking, how am I going to defend myself already?
Yes, like, you shouldn't have to put a wall up. You should be open to that person coming to you and saying, I need to talk. It should be a good thing, because that means they want to make sure we're on the same page and that we understand each other and we respect each other. Right. If I tell you feel a type of way about something, don't get mad about it. Just try to understand why I feel that way, and vice versa. So, yeah.
Or how about how they like to? How about how? Sorry, Furman, we're definitely not picking on men, okay? How about like when it's
no,
always
I'm,
like
I'm
when you,
that's why I said vice versa.
right?
I'm speaking
When
from
you
both
want to
ends.
speak to them and they're like, "Why do you always want to fight?" It's not a fight. Like it's called
That's one thing
adult
about me. I don't
communication,
fight.
right?
I don't. That's one thing about me. I don't fight. I like peace.
Yeah,
That's
no,
one
but what I'm
thing.
saying
Yes.
is it's like that's like the
I
automatic
do.
response. That automatic response when sometimes when you want to voice your opinion, they automatically think you're wanting to fight. It's not about wanting to fight. I want to communicate with you. Don't label it as a fight. This isn't a fight. This is us as partners having a discussion. Doesn't mean that we're going to agree in the end. Doesn't mean we agreed in the beginning. But
Yeah.
I still want to know that my voice is heard.
Right.
I
And
still
yeah,
want to
like
give you
I
that
said, I'll
opportunity.
always speak from both ends. No, I'm not a man, and I can't always feel what a man is feeling, but I am open minded. I try to look at things from their perspective if I can, visualize what they might be feeling, and then I'm going to look at it from a woman's perspective. So, definitely on that vice is both ways. Like there are plenty of women that I have seen who does not know how to communicate, or they purposely jab and nitpick. And then there's guys that do it. So it goes both ways. It goes both ways.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I will say, just within that one, that's just one again of the many obstacles. So that situation, I had to literally figure out how to handle it. And at the time, I was married, and he was working day and night because I had worked all the way up until I delivered my daughter, and I was home all day and night, cleaning and cooking, baby, constantly latching and crying. I was like, oh, I need a mental break, but um, you know, he would probably come home for like an hour and then go to the night job. It was a day job and a night job since I had stopped working. So we both were busy, but just in the midst of that, the other stuff was going on. And it's like when I was complaining about my issues, and then of course after we have babies, we feel self-conscious about ourselves and we feel different. And we are different. We get a different physical appearance. Mentally, we're different. So when I had those like depressive moments, and I felt like I wanted to hurt myself or do something, whether it was me or my baby, I would walk in another room and take like a few deep breaths and count to 10. And I don't know what it was, but that helped me. It would help. That was my way. Everybody's method is different, but that was my way of calming down. Like being able to grasp reality, jump back in and say, let me go get this baby and take care of her, so that was just my way of handling it. And then just outside of that, the other things, the infidelities were still going on. And I just, after I realized I wasn't going to get help with it how I needed, and then I saw some things and caught some things that, made me more upset and hurt me. That was the moment where I made that promise. I was like, if this happens again, that will be the end of us. And I promised to all my kids, and I won't make a promise on them and lie about it. So, obviously it ended up happening again because I am here today, divorce. But that was one thing. And then just like the other things was communication. That was another obstacle. You can call it an obstacle. Like we said, it's just, I never felt like things were understood to a point where they could move on. You know how some people will just like, you blow up and there's this big argument, and then they say they don't want to talk because it's blown up. We can talk about it later. And then when you come back to it later, they don't want to talk about it still. Even though everything's simmered down, they want to just forget about it and move on. That's not going to fix it. That's not solving anything, because now we're just pushing it under the rug. So that doesn't solve stuff. And that's why a lot of issues never were fixed or even talked about. And there was no attempt to try to understand them. And that's not going to work for me. I'm one of those people, I have to make sure we're on the same page. I have to resolve things.
Yeah, and that's important. It takes two willing people to walk together, and you all gonna have to address the elephant in the room. And if that person, that
Hmm.
individual, is not willing to do it, it's just gonna make things more complicated, right?
Yeah.
So it takes two willing people to make a thing work. And
I
after you,
commend you. I just commend you for having the strength to know your worth and not to continue. Especially, it's hard. Like it's
It took a
hard.
while.
It's hard when you're a
yeah,
new mom too, right? Like you think like I'm gonna have to do this on my own, or
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you kind of are doing it on your own, right?
Hmm.
It was just that mental thing of thinking, well, he's coming home when he comes home, or whatnot. But it's definitely a big step, and I think that that's like the biggest thing. Like I'm now in this stage of where you know, I see I can do it on my own. I mean, is it great to
Hmm.
have a partner that you can do it with? And I've said this many times that, you know, um, what am I working my ass off for?
Hmm.
What am I doing all this for if I don't have somebody to enjoy it with? And
Yeah.
so we ideally want to have somebody to enjoy it with, but after a while, it kind of just also puts your walls up, right? Like
Hmm.
you even on the good men, you're like, I don't know, like there's got to be
You're
something
like,
wrong with you, dude.
yeah.
Like I bless the good men. That's all I can say is bless the good men, because we tend to, hold them accountable for what those bad men do. But I have
Yes.
said it on here and I say it on my page. Hate the man, not the men. So we can't put
Yes.
them all in the same category because there are some good ones out there.
Right. You don't want to drag baggage from someone else onto someone who's a good guy, and then you end up ruining them. Yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah,
something I don't want to do. I want to make sure I am fully healed, prepared. I go in knowing exactly what I desire and not waste anyone's time if they don't have it, and make sure they're on the same page that I am as far as my communication factors and understanding where I come from. So if I do make a mistake and slip up, I will apologize to you without a problem and correct myself. But for the most part, not put that baggage on them.
Diane, that's amazing, and congratulations for 20 years with him. I mean, you didn't have to rub it in for us single ladies, but but
10, 10,
congratulations.
10 years.
Look at we'll toast some tea to you on that one, okay? So,
Yes.
but so were you working when you guys were together? Like when you were having kids, were you already working then, or did you not really start the career thing until afterwards, after you became single?
I've been working since 16. So I've always been working. However, when I did have each of my children, I took a year off of work, each of those times. But other than that, I've always been working. Um, so I'm in the medical field, um, and that's kind of like a big thing for my family. I mean, we a lot of us are in the medical field, but um, like my first job was at Sonic. I was on little roller skates trying not to kill myself. But just going on. Eventually, when I got pregnant with my son, we were what was I doing? Oh, I was working at an elementary school, so I was an after school teacher. Um, and then I ended up getting pregnant with him. And I actually had complications with that pregnancy, and I had to be in the hospital on strict bed rest for 3.5 months until I got to full term, because I didn't see the doctor until late, so I found this out late. So all the preventative measures, I kind of missed those markers and those deadlines. So I was in the hospital, and in the hospital, that's when I started my medical education. Um, I was like, I can't get up and do nothing else. I can keep pushing and do this. Bring my laptop. Let's get this going. So again, this is where that strength and being strong came in for me, because even like all the nurses that would come in, they're like, "You're doing schoolwork while you're going through this," and so many people, they they wouldn't be able to manage having the capacity mentally to be able to handle that, all while knowing you're trying to have this baby full term. You're not trying to have a preterm delivery or anything like that. So, and then he was there, and so the nurses, they would be like, all of the other women on the floor, they don't have anyone in the room staying every night with them. They don't have the support that you have. Meanwhile, even though he was right there next to me, he was still doing the same stuff. So it was, it was like give or take. And I can remember uh, one of the nights I caught him and we got into a big argument. And I know they heard us outside that room because the nurse station, their desk was like outside of my room.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was bad. And he ended up leaving and they came in and checking on me. And I was like, I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't do anything. So just, just coming from stuff like that and still graduating and moving forward, I'm just like, I'm strong,
Yeah, absolutely.
like I did that. So
Absolutely.
Thank you for that.
And we even say too that, even when it's hard in that moment, like you saying studying at the hospital, it's temporarily. So like even when I was having to work, full time and then being a mom, wanting to never miss any sports. I mean, I had my college books out, on the field while I'm watching my sons play and I'm trying to study, still trying to be that cheer mom, that support system. And people be like, can you not put stuff inside? And I'm like, this is just, even though I was so sleep deprived. I mean, I was doing 27, credits a semester at times. And so, I just thought when it's done, the reward is going to be worth it.
right,
And
right.
so I thought, right now I'm without sleep. Hell, I'm still without sleep. And this has been how many years? So, but it's still worth it in the end. And so you just keep pushing through. So what was the big thing that you did? Like the big goal that you hit, like post divorce, and you said, I'm going to do this. What was the first thing you did?
Yes, so that's what I was getting to. So throughout all of that, and I'm not on here to bash anyone. I'm just telling my story.
Mm-hmm.
Just to put that out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. Cause won't nobody try to come with no lawsuit.
Yes, because I've gone to some events and did some things, and people will like to send stuff to the other party and act like it's a bash session, and it's not. I am truthfully telling my story, just to clarify. So, but throughout all of that, people move on within situations and they forgive and go forward. So we just continued on, and then for a while, I felt like things were good and blah blah blah. And then I feel like we got to a point, well then eventually. So let me back up. So that was the son situation in the hospital when I was pregnant with my son. Then I told you about the one with my daughter. I only have 2 kids. So those situations happened after the one with my daughter when I made that promise. I felt like things were good for a while. And then, life started elevating and, better jobs came along. More, obviously more money comes with that. And then I bought my first house in the middle of COVID. So it was kind of weird, but it was good because some interest rates was the bomb. So
Right. They're not now.
yes. So there wasn't much on the market, but we did what we had to do, and we got out there, got a beautiful home, and then in the midst of that, like I said, things seemed like they were good. We were in the home for about 2 years, and then there was the next crash. And it was this one person that just kept coming around and lingering on. And I'm like, if it's that serious, I will free you. And I made that one promise that I wasn't joking about. And I at that point, that's when I had enough. And from then on, I didn't just call it quits right away. I tried to engage in marriage counseling, try to talk, but then that communication was, of course, at a low. So it was just the arguments and fights, and then more and more disrespect started coming along, like to the point where it was in front of the children, and I was like, no. So eventually, I realized I'm like, this is not gonna be fixed, and we eventually became roommates. So I like I started sleeping in my daughter's room because she would always sleep in mine anyway. And it was just a point in time where it came to like the process of me just trying to prepare to move on. You know, trying to figure out who's staying in the house, who's leaving, this and that. And it was a back and forth situation. And when it came to conclusion, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna be the one to go. Um, so when that day came, this was the big part. The probably the biggest obstacle of them all. But when that day came that I prepared to move out, I was actively loading and moving stuff out and all. And he already knew. Like he saw me packing. It was communicated. And you know, like we had already established we're separated until divorce date comes. And I mean, yeah, I had a guy friend come and help move, and he got mad about it, and showed up. And like this is after I had left and was taking care of stuff with the apartment, but I still needed to come back and get more things. And from that point on, it just went left. And I won't go into full detail, but I will say that um, physical things happened to me. And what's crazy is when I pulled up, because I had my daughter with me, my son was at the house with him. When I pulled up to get the rest of my stuff, it was outside, thrown outside in the driveway. I tried calling the police 3 times and I could not get signal. I live in Hunt County, so it's like, you know, it's back there past Rockwall. It was
I'm in Hunt County
kind of
now,
country.
so I got you, girl.
Yeah, so my calls would not go through. I even showed them the calls. Like by the time they got there, it was because he called. My phone was all broken and cracked up, but I showed them the calls, and it didn't matter. So guess who spent a night in jail?
You did.
Yes, I had never been handcuffed before. I had never experienced anything like that. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Because everything that truthfully happened, it was against me. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the one to normally pull a race card, but I felt a little discriminated against at that point. Um and I went through that. One of the worst parts of that is I didn't get to see my kids for 30 days.
Mm.
I had never been without my kids. 30 days. That just like tore me up. Um, so I only spent a night, thank God, and that night was hard. It was freezing. I was hungry, and I ain't gonna lie, I was acting a little too bougie for the food, and I was like, "What is this?"
I was like, I'm not cut out for it either.
Yes, so they brought some tray. I was like, I just scooted it back over, and then I was like, okay, my stomach is twisting and turning. I was like, I'm hungry, so then they brought a sandwich, so I had to eat the sandwich. But I got out the next day, and from that point on, I had to come to my new place. A lot of my belongings still left there at the house. I after that 30 days, I could have went back, but it was said that it was a domestic situation. They blamed it on me, when in fact I did not swing or hit anyone. Um, and I couldn't talk to them. I couldn't see them. Nothing. So as a mother who, for one, went through these difficult pregnancies and never been away from my kids that long, that was hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I definitely went back into a depression, and I had to keep working. I had to just keep continuing life like nothing happened because I have these bills to pay on my own, you know. So that was the worst part of it all. And from that point, um, you know, I like the night I was taken, there was another woman in my house. Throughout that 30 days, there was another woman in my house, and I'm like, I couldn't do nothing. So, um, from that point on, it took a lot of prayer, meditation. Meditation, like one of the biggest things for me. And then family, friends, very close friends, like walked me through it, like really walked me through it. Um, and I've had a lot of encouragement from them, so that was like the push for me to take that time and do something valuable with it to mentally get me out of that state and to even try to prepare for when I do see my kids again. I can set up something, start setting up a foundation for them. So, a good friend of mine, his name's Tommy, he introduced me to a lot of other affiliates he knew. And like, even aside of him, I remember I went to this networking event, and it was like a networking event for fashion and modeling and stuff. And I'm just
Okay.
like, I love fashion. Like, I've grown up in dance, cheerleading, drill team, step, all that stuff. And I've always liked singing. I love like the entertainment stuff. So I went to that networking event, and um, I remember, like, my ex tried to tell me down, and you aren't that pretty anyway, and you can't do this, and you can do that. And that very night I went to that networking event, that next day I was put in a fashion show. That next day I didn't know how to walk or nothing. They just saw me and they saw something in me and they gave me a chance because I showed up, I presented myself, and they were like, "Well, let's try this one out." And by the way, I just want to make a shout out to them. So, that fashion designer is Natalie Diaz. She owns the company Slayla, Slayla. So y'all check her out. But that was the very, very first chance that I was given, like in the modeling entertainment area. And then after that, like I said, my friend introduced me to some, affiliates of his, and um, it put me in a position to start like the actual stage performances, um, car show modeling, and all this cool stuff that I never in my life thought I would be able to do. This is like childhood dreams for me, right? So I can remember growing up and standing in my mirror thinking I'm Beyonce and, trying to do those moves she was doing and singing and all that stuff. So, like, here I am today, like, actually doing the stuff that Beyonce and her dancers do. Um, so I was introduced to one of our local artists, another shout out, Mandy Red. So she is a Latin reggaeton artist.
Okay.
So she has a mixture of like some pop music, and then she has the Latin reggaeton. And she took me in with open arms and let me try out. Like, we had there was this big car show in Dallas, and she had a stage performance there. So I was like super nervous. But it was just kind of go up there and do your thing and freestyle, just be beautiful, be vibrant, interact. And like after that first time, I was like, oh, that wasn't bad. So I'm like, I want to do that
You
again.
were
So
hungry for more, weren't you?
yes, 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 yes. And it got to the point of where it is now. Like, I'm literally actively one of her primary performers.
Okay.
We just went to San Antonio 2 weeks ago and did the All Star Music Awards. So I'm just like, it's gotten to that level. And when I think about a year ago, somebody telling me that I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I'm not big enough, I can't do this and that, I'm just like, look where I am now. And then half of those people want to come back into your life.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I think that you should definitely praise yourself for those victories. Never stop.
Mm-hmm.
We always want to stay humble, right? But at the same
Yeah.
time, we do need to applaud ourselves for things that we've overcome because, a lot of people can tend to take what's happened to them, whether it was in their childhood, younger 20s, 30s, whatnot, and then choose to just kind of go on this spiraling down path, right? Of like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I've already gone through all this, and then feeling that they're not. worthy because that's what they've been told. And so then they don't choose to excel or grow. And so it's amazing that you did. And of course I applaud it because, you know, I've talked about my story, on the show multiple times, and how I just decided that I wasn't going to let something I couldn't control, change what I could control. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and every day I stop and I tell myself, like, I love what I do and I'm proud of who I am today. I'm going to be who I am today because that's a whole different person than what I was when I had to stay silent going through abuse, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I think that, so always like stretch and do that, but always remember you're doing it for you. You're doing it for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
You're showing them how strong you are and how much further you can go. But when they say God closes one door, another one will open, I think that this is a perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm.
Where you thought, I mean, I couldn't imagine 30 days without my kids when they were
Oh
babies.
my
Okay, I would have.
God. I cried every day.
Look, I would be. Furman would be having to come and check on me over at the jail or something. I mean, I would have been there for a lot longer than one night had I not had my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, that was my true strength. When I was
Right.
going through the depression, when I didn't feel like I was enough, if I felt like I was failure, I could look at my sons and I would be like, well, damn it, God thought I did something right. He
Yes.
gave me these beautiful boys. So I must be worthy in his eyes, and his eyes are the ones that should matter. So,
Yes.
but I know, Furman, do you want to go ahead and take a commercial break and then we'll come on back and finish talking about what she's been doing in her life?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So here we go.
With today's technological advances and fast-paced life, BMS is your trusted next-generation IT solutions provider that keeps you ahead of the competition. From humble beginnings, BMS Company is now one of the fastest-growing software engineering service providers, with international presence and golden reputation for excellence. The BMS Company is your one-stop global destination for web development, mobile application development, digital marketing, SEO, Facebook and Google advertising, social media management, business consulting, printing services, and many more. BMS is trusted to provide timely, cost-effective solutions. At BMS, we believe in providing guaranteed results, irrespective of a project's complexity. No stories, no excuses. And core to all of our operation is that we practice what we preach, and we deliver what we promise. We're proud of our dream team of solution-driven enthusiasts comprising of industry experts in various fields, including blockchain, IoT, and AI. Our unique makeup and cooperate synergy enables BMS to add heart to technology while delivering our trademark exceptional results for our esteemed customers. Get free 3 months of hosting and 30 days SEO when you partner with us today. Call us now on 469-992-4567 or visit our website at thebmscompany.com.
Hey, good morning, everybody. We're back here on Walking This Way's Impact Wars podcast. I am your host, Furman Jackson Jr. Alongside with me in the studio is Lady D Desiree back with me one more time as we are having our Q&A conversation with Francis Sherri. Of course, the title of this episode is called All Eyes on Me. So if you are in the comment section, hashtag All Eyes on Me. Let us know where you're coming. Let us know that you're in the comment section, which you are, and not only that, let us know where you're watching us at as well. Also, so we're very excited, Desiree, and honored to have this fabulous young lady in our presence this morning. She shared some stuff, the things she went through in her life to where she's at today. I gotta applaud you, Francis, for knowing your worth, knowing your value, to get out of that, they say, quote unquote, toxic situation
Mm-hmm.
for your life. You are beautiful, you are gorgeous, of course, and just to have somebody to belittle you and tear you down is hateful. Nobody nobody should have to go through that, especially a person
Mm-hmm.
you promise to commit your life to for the rest of your life. And I'm just listening to your story. Was he always, for him doing the infidelities, was he always blaming you for stuff? Because a lot of times they, oh, it's your fault, I'm doing this and doing this. So was he
No,
like, he wasn't blaming you at all? He just wanted to do it, just be doing it.
I guess that was always my thing too. I need feedback. I need to know why something happened. But no, I was never blamed. Um, and he would always say it was just him. Um, just sometimes maybe an ego thing or whatever, or just seeing, how people say, I just want to see if I still got it. And I'm like, it shouldn't matter.
Wow.
Like, you were married, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you married.
Um,
I mean, be a husband. But that's
yeah, yeah, and I think a lot of that comes from people wondering, do I still look good? Is there something wrong with me? Do people think I look attractive? A good example of that is Steph Curry's wife. When that whole like big ordeal was going on because she made a statement about other guys noticing her or
mm-hmm.
complimenting her. Um, and I get it. It's not that she wanted necessarily to talk to other guys, but it's just a sense of confidence that they're trying to find within other people. And
Right.
that's where that self love needs to come in, because you're looking for validation from outside sources. If you're not hearing nobody try to spit game to you or tell you you look good or this or that, then you start wondering, do I look good? Am I so pretty? And that's where that stems from, and why people engage in these conversations with others when they shouldn't. When all in all, you need to look in the mirror and you know,
You need to
and
be
we all
validated within
criticize
yourself.
ourselves. I still do it to today. I'm like my stomach, or I don't like the way this. Like, we all do it, but overall, even though back then I might not have known my worth, I know I'm a beautiful individual on the inside and out.
Oh, you
And
are.
no one can take that away from me. Like, no one
Nobody
can tell
can.
me otherwise.
Nah, nobody can ever take that from you, and that's the beautiful thing about it.
Hmm.
That you know your worth, you know your value. But it's also something else you start doing too. I see you went to the gun range. So how was that experience as well?
I
Also.
went yesterday. Yes. So it was fun. I got a new gun on. It was like a week or two before Mother's Day. So they have like the little gun range. I'm sorry, the gun show in Mesquite,
Okay.
and I like going to that one. And so my friend Tommy, he always sends me these videos. I don't know if you know Black Rambo.
Uh-uh. Might need to get him on the show.
You should. That'd be awesome if you could. But so he's kind of pretty well known. He's in Louisiana. He's been on what's that show where they hunt for alligators?
I know which one you're talking about.
I can't think of the
I
name
know
of
which
it.
yeah, I know which one you're talking about though.
Yeah. But it's like the real country Creole people, and he was on there hunting for alligators with them. But that was just him being featured on their show one time. But he's like pretty well known on social media for his collection of guns. And in particular, he has a favorite gun called the Canic, and he has the one I want. It's called the Signature Series, and it's white. So nice. So that might be my next one. But I don't have an infatuation with guns, but I do like to see a nice, cool looking gun. And I honestly, I'm a strong believer in carrying. Just with everything that goes on in this day and age, you like just the simple fact of Allen, you can't even go shopping at the mall with your family without worrying about somebody coming to attack you out of nowhere. So, um, even before I was single, I still, agreed with the thought of guns to protect my family. But
Yeah.
definitely now, with me being like going places by myself with my kids, I'm like, they might look at me and be like, "Oh, she's little, and that'll be easy. I'm gonna go get her, snatch those kids up, and so just the thought of being protected overall is why I like guns. But the gun range yesterday, yeah. So I have a license to carry, and I did pretty good on my scores. It was like yours. The highest score was 250, and I got a 230. But the only reason I got a 230 is because I misunderstood some of the instructions, and I missed a little bit. But I probably would have had a 240 or 250 had I understood. So pretty good, pretty good. But
And it is. I mean, it is. And then you got to think about it too, especially in your line of work. You know, I know you're a model and things like that. You got some creeps
yeah,
out there and stalkers and all the other stuff too as well. Also, because these folks crazy
yeah.
nowadays.
Gotta be careful. Even if you're not in that line of work, though. I just really feel like people are crazy.
They
People are
are.
crazy, so
They are.
I
you
mean,
just gotta be
you never know what's going
protected.
to trigger somebody.
Mhm.
And here's the other thing to it too is we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, right? You don't
Mhm.
know. I mean, somebody could be staring at you right
Yes.
here on this podcast, and you think they've got their shit together, and in the end, like,
Mhm.
maybe they don't. Like, so you just don't ever know. But just so we put it in that full disclosure that we are not promoting. I'm a gun person too. We're not promoting weapons, guys.
Right.
We
Right.
think
Right. Right.
everybody should be.
Absolutely. No,
Look,
not
let's cover.
promoting it.
Look, I work for the city of Dallas, and so the city attorney's office might want me to go ahead and put in that disclosure that we please
Not
get your
promoting.
permit to carry, and firearm safety is very important.
It is. It is. And just even going into the gun range, they give you like a whole little waiver and a whole informational sheet on how to conduct yourself and how to deal with the guns while in there because it is dangerous. So absolutely knowing the safety measures and protocols that definitely plays a big factor in it. But I didn't want to just buy one and have. I definitely felt like having a license to carry was the appropriate measures. Um, because you can have a gun, but if you get
But if
pulled
you don't know
over
how to
and
use
you
it
don't know
properly,
how to like let that officer know that you have one, not knowing all of that stuff can turn into a whole different situation. Um, so just, in those classes they teach you what to say or what to do when you get pulled over and your firearm is with you. Even if it's not with you, I learned that they can look it up and see that you have a license to carry. So even if you left it at home, they might still suspect that you have it and have their hand on that trigger, just in case they feel like you might pull it out. So
well,
it's
and
kind
what good
of
is
a
it?
form. Say
What
that
good is
again.
it? I was going to say, what good is it to even have a firearm if you're not comfortable using it for self defense, or
Right.
you need to be familiar with everything about it. So those
Hmm.
classes are always good, regardless.
Yeah.
You definitely think that. So what are you doing? So currently, what are you doing? I mean, obviously, you said you just went to San Antonio. What else? What else are you doing now that you'd love to share with the rest of us?
Of course, the performances, we do them here sometimes in San Antonio. Outside of the performances, I have slowed down on the modeling stuff because, like we said, I have a lot of things I'm carrying, and it can get pretty busy. So like photo sessions and stuff, I'll still do that. I have not been like in any further modeling shows. I was actually just offered to be in the what was the one that just passed? It was a Cinco de Mayo. So you know how you do the big thing in Oak Cliff on Jefferson Boulevard. I wanted to do it, but I had something else going on that day and I couldn't. But it's basically like they make that street a runway and they walk in hills down that whole street and turn around and come back. Um, so that was like the first biggest actual modeling walk or show that I did. Um, but outside of that, I've actually done some acting. Um, Probably this was the end of April. The last thing I did, the end of April, so I can't disclose too much information on it because I did sign waivers. But we're hoping that it gets picked up. So I did a recording because we basically were filming a trailer, and I had to. My role was very short at first, but someone else didn't show up. Kind of got lucky and got her role because it was one I would have preferred anyway. Um, but I had to act as I was this person who taught a pimp how to be a pimp.
Mm.
So I'm just like, I don't know.
That's interesting. That should definitely be interesting. See, let me catch you up. I'm going to ask you too, Francis. So Anthony Amos, and Anthony is one of our wonderful friends, and he's been on the podcast many times. He is out of Chicago.
Okay.
If you haven't checked out what Anthony's doing, absolutely amazing. I highly recommend that you do. And so he is asking, how is gun safety different for minorities?
It's different. That kind of goes into what I was saying, knowing what to do when you get pulled over, because it's different because of discrimination. Like, just to sum it up in a minimal. So I feel like if a minority person was to get pulled over and they didn't disclose to the officer that they have a license to carry, or they have a gun, and the officer went and looked it up that they are registered to a gun or they have a license to carry, that officer might suspect, or it might treat them differently, or make them get out the car, like, all these other preventative measures, versus someone who's not a minority. It's just any other normal way that we're treated differently, like we are a threat. It's I guess another example, like my brother fits the typical script. He's a dark-skinned guy. He got his little dreadlocks and all that. But my brother is a good, hard-working person. He works his butt off every day. However, he has been in trouble for like minor things, nothing major. He has no felonies, none of that. But he always gets pulled over, or they're always just running his plates for no reason, and they'll pull him over, find something to complain about, and then when they run his background, they want to pick with him or take him in or do something. So now, like, he bought himself a gun, and I'm just like, he does not have a license to carry. And I know right now that I think they changed it to where you don't need one, but I told him, I said, I just don't recommend that you definitely don't have it visible for them to just walk up and see, because they're like, they target you enough, they're already gonna be like, what are you doing with that right there? So I was like, if you have it with you, I was like, I didn't even know what to tell them. I was just like, I want to tell you to let them know up front. But I'm like, at the same token, I kind of don't want you to say anything at all, because sometimes even when you tell them up front, they might think that you're going to be sneaky and pull it out on them when they're not looking. So it's just the way they treat you based on how they want to discriminate against you. Or definitely if you have a background, or they see you got taken in for something, they're going to discriminate. So I hope I answered that as best as I could, but sorry, I was reading another question.
Oh, that's from.
Yeah. So I hope I explained it. The best thing I can say is it's different because they tend to discriminate on minorities, and definitely if there's a background on the record for that minority person, they just don't have trust. They don't trust. And then, yes, Diana, education is definitely key, because even the previous gun that I had that I sold, that one actually had a safety. This new one I have is different. There's no safety lock on it. It's almost like a Glock, where once you put your hand on that trigger, there's like a little red button, and once you push back, it's going to fire. And that gun can even fire without a clip. So education is key.
It is. And like I said, going over your resume, what would you consider the highlight of your career?
So we were saying the different things I did just before we jump into that. So I was saying with the acting thing, that has been fun. I've actually done, I've probably done just a rough number, 4 or 5 different like scenes. Okay. However, different things have happened, and they have not been able to get put out there. Some of them were legal issues. Some of them, I don't know what happened. They recorded all this stuff, and I haven't seen it dropped. One of them I did. It actually did go through. I played a detective, and that movie got placed in Look Cinema Studios. It's like off Technology Boulevard. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but it was in Look Cinemas. So that was really cool. I got to go see it before they aired it. And then this one, like I said, I recently did. I'm just waiting to hear back if they completed it, because there's a big actress who was considering picking it up if it's good enough. Okay. Like a well-known actress that we all know. So okay. I can't disclose any info on that.
Right. That's understandable.
Yes.
So we know that a lot of people are getting into that now.
Yeah.
A lot of movies and stuff.
Yes. So I've done that. And then outside of that, like I said, my primary thing is being in the medical field. And I'm still increasing education as well on that. So I think my highlight will probably be me working in the emergency room. Out of everything I've done, I take the most pride in that because I've actually saved lives.
Mhm.
I've seen, and working in the ER, you see everything, and you have death in your hands, whether it's an adult or a child. So I take a lot of pride in that out of every single thing because I'm like, it always makes me think about how we take things for granted and we take life for granted, and by the second, you can be gone. Um, so I started out in my medical career as a medical assistant. So I've been doing that since 2014. Um, and then I did like the medical office work and all that stuff. But then I was like, I want to take it a notch up and get more experience while I'm expanding my career. So I'm like in school for nursing, but I kind of want to. I might consider. I think I want to go further and actually be a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant. Um, but once I eventually got to the ER side of it, I can remember my very first time that I did CPR on a patient. She had a massive heart attack. She was, going through dialysis, just all kind of stuff going on. And I was a little nervous because it was my first time actually doing active CPR. But that very first time, I brought her heartbeat back. And everybody was taking turns going on and going on. We did it for like an hour. So that second time I did it, the doctor put the ultrasound on her chest to see if there was a heartbeat. He saw the heartbeat faintly starting to come back, and he just looked up at me, and then everybody looked up at me, and I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Just keep going." But I was like, "Why y'all looking at me?" And I'm still doing compressions, and he was like, "There's a faint heartbeat." And he was like, "You're doing a really good job." He was like, "Your compressions are timely. It's, you're doing them right. It's not too fast. It's not too slow." So like that was the moment where, I realized, and like out of all the areas in the medical field, like the ER, it was my thing. And it's not that I want to see people in those states of sickness, at their worst, but I just know when they are, like I would get this adrenaline, like I have to help, I have to jump in. So when I was doing the minor things in the ER, like, helping a patient do this or just changing up a room or all the little things, as soon as a cold would come in, as soon as a gunshot wound would come in, anything like that, I was there. I was in that room. I was like, I want to go in. I want to go in. Can I help? Do y'all need help? It was just like an adrenaline rush because I'm like, I want to do this and help this person come back or, just help them feel better. So I would say that's my highlight. Currently, I'm still in the medical area, but I did step out of the ER at this moment. I am a medical assistant instructor.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually teach at a college
Okay.
in Fort Worth. So I started doing that more recently. It's been about 6 months, and it's pretty cool because I have students that some are older than me, some are younger than me, some are my age. So it's like I can relate to a lot of them, but just the small amount of time I've been there, like they adore me and I adore them. Like we have a good time, and then I bring in those real life situations that I've been in and just kind of put them on game on what they're going to be dealing with in the real world. And it's important to me because I've worked with nurses, doctors, all kind of people who are not good caretakers. And I told them, I said, my duty to you is to educate you on the skills that you need to learn, but also to make sure you are equipped in mentally and physically to help these people. I'm like, don't go in there with an attitude. Don't go in there doing this and that. People really are depending on you, and they're not there sick wanting to deal with attitudes and all this extra stuff that you bring in. So I'm like, you got to go in confident. And if you don't have a passion for it, this is not what you want to do. So
I think the ER was always fun for me when I worked in the ER was because it was never the same. Like everything, like it wasn't like this repetitive day.
Yes. You never knew what you were going to do with.
Right. And so where you might think it's just going to be a calm night because you've got nothing, not anything going on. And it's like, okay, like it's a chill night. and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, it's complete chaos, and
Yes.
you have to be quick.
I've had those nights. Yes, 12-hour shifts, 30-minute lunches, hungry as heck. So like we would snack throughout the shift. I'm like, there's no way we can go 12 hours and only take a break or eat for 30 minutes. So um it would be slow nights, and then right when we're about to get off, it'd be like 6:45, and say we get off at 7, here comes the cold, and everybody's stuck in there, and we all get off late. But it was like I didn't even care. I'm just like, I'll go home in a little bit. I'm like, let me help, So
So what do you hope for, like, if you were to say, even just by the end of the year, what would you hope to accomplish by the end of this year?
By the end of this year, ooh, that's a good one. I would hope to accomplish. I know what I want to say. I'm trying to think of how I'm going to say it. I want to accomplish a stable foundation, whatever that may be. So like I said, I kind of dabble and dabble and do different things. But I just want that one thing that's going to elevate me so I can set that solid foundation for my children's future. I want that to be to appear and be set in stone by the end of this year. Whatever that may be. I know you probably saw that I did put something out as well, as far as like holistic care, massages and stuff like that. So I haven't done a lot of them. I have done a few, and it's more so just testing the waters because I have been learning the content. But I'm not a licensed massage therapist. However, I've even been doing research on that because I'm like, I know I will still, I'm sure, need the licensing. But I'm like, what I with my degrees that I have, I'm like, shoot, I've done more education than the massage therapist would do. And it's all about anatomy and on the body. So I'm like, I feel like I'm educated enough to do it, but I just don't have the license. So I'm like, anytime I do it, just doing it on people I know or close people just to practice. But I may take that further and actually complete the program to get the license. Or I might venture off into something else because I like I'm a busy person. Whatever I think of or put my mind to, I like to get it started. And I get that from my mom because she does the same thing.
So you always been an individual that was always willing to learn different things, constantly like keep an open mind, involved, like just challenge yourself in new arenas. Got to keep life interesting, right? Because they said people are drawn to interesting people, so you live an interesting life. So I can imagine how people are drawn to you just by the life that you live and being open minded to grow and evolve. So I applaud that. I really do.
Yeah. I don't know where I'm gonna find the time, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little interested in real estate.
Oh no, I think it's made, like I always say I'm going to, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Math is not my strongest. So
Me neither.
If you actually, so my son's fiance, she was taking the classes and stuff, and she was having to do all the practice tests. And I literally was like, yeah, maybe this isn't for me. Like, I don't understand. Why do I need to know all that off the top of my head? Just give me the calculus, right? Like, isn't that what calculators are for? And so, but I think it's always good to keep pursuing, and continuing your education, your experiences, whether it's if people are just doing it in certificates or just in an arts and a craft way, right? Like, you can never have enough education. If you stop wanting to learn, I think you stop growing. I mean, somebody asked me the other day, we were talking about college and debt and stuff. And I said, even though I have that debt, like I still want to continue. I would love to be able to make time to go back.
Right.
For more education. And so, but I feel like that, you never know what could happen tomorrow too. I'm not saying it and I'm going to knock on wood. I mean, I could lose my job at the city, and then what am I going to fall on? I mean, luckily with a master's in social work, I can get a job in a lot of fields, but you know what my point is.
Right.
So, but
it's good to have those multiple routes to go, just in case something does happen. You have this to lean on. I have this degree, or I know how to do this. And then nowadays in the world we live in, it's expensive. So one income half the time is not enough.
Right.
It's really hard. It is really hard. So I'm definitely an advocate for multiple businesses and streams of income and all kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And and I think also too, like I want to have you just never know what door's gonna open. And if you already have it
Hmm.
out, if you already have it out of the way and you've got the education for it, you just don't want to be like, oh, see, I should have gotten that degree.
Hmm.
I should have, taken that opportunity to learn that. So I
Yeah,
support anybody who wants to continue their education further.
yeah, yeah. There's one thing that is a childhood dream that I have not done yet. Um, I think I'm too shy. I don't know. And it's funny to say that I'm shy when I've been doing these performances, but appearing is one thing, but actually vocalizing and putting your voice out there is another. I love singing. I used to be in choir in high school, and I went from an alto to a soprano. Now I'm like back to an alto because I'm just not there anymore. I don't do it enough, and I don't practice, training and warming my vocals enough. But if that's ever a dream I could live out,
Mhm.
you know, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so we know we're in the 6th month of 2023, and then we've been talking about goals and how we want to finish this year on out. So, what are your plans to finish this year out all strong? Because we are in the 6th month, 2023.
What are my plans to finish it out?
Mm-hmm.
So to continue my education. So I took a little break with this job, the instructor job, because it required a lot of lesson planning for my students, and I'm just like, there's no way I'll be able to keep up with that and continue school because I'm gonna be behind on one or the other. So I took a pause and I put focus into that just because it was temporary. Now I'm to the point where I can reuse those lesson plans, thank God, because it was from
Mm-hmm.
work. Um, and so now that that's done, I want to get back in, continue my education, um, and I would say just kind of rebuild my line of credit because I am trying to see what route I'm going to go because the market sucks, but I do want to purchase another home.
Okay.
Um, I was able to sell my previous, and I definitely, I'm like, my mom, she got some land, and she's like, just put a home over here on the land. And I honestly don't want to live in that area. It's a little far out, but either that or buy another home and just kind of start creating um, that new place to call home, that new foundation for my kids.
Hey, I respect that wholeheartedly. Nobody ready to get off the air shortly. Desiree, have anything you want to jump in with?
I mean, other than just, it was definitely a pleasure to be able to have you on and to just even tell your story. Especially because it sounds like it's still kind of fresh.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not,
it's
yeah.
been about a year.
And
It's
so,
not that old.
yeah, so that's always, wonderful. And I will say, after time, it does get easier to tell it. Doesn't mean it gets easier how you feel about it. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
I commend you on coming on here and being vocal. And also, again, she told her truth of the story. And I think that's always important. Like, you're going to have, everybody's going to have an opinion of how the story went down, right? So, but for you to
Right.
come on and feel brave enough to share that with us and to even just tell us why you are who you are today. But just always stay positive and just know, like, those things that we thought were good for us, maybe they were actually good because it gave you the strength to be who you are today. So you can't look at it,
Right.
don't let it get you down, don't question it, don't even ask why he did things. Like, leave that shit in the past. Look at who
Yep.
you are now today, and just keep going. Right? Like, live the truth.
Absolutely.
And the best revenge, I think, is when you're successful without falling apart because of what somebody else has done to us. Right?
Yes. Yes.
So
You
just
can't let
keep
it hold
pushing
you
forward.
down. Hmm.
But we would love for you to be able to share with everybody that's listening or that goes back and watches this how they could find you on any social media platforms to see how your journey's going. And so we're going to give you that opportunity to share that with everybody.
Absolutely. And I do want to say and add in that in the midst of all those things, I didn't go into detail, but I briefly told again my story and the main parts of it. But in the end of it, charges are gone. Thank God. And that was it was that was a process too. Again, within that, just the discrimination, even with the child protective services getting involved, this discrimination. And I'm like, honey, my kids were set because of the things that I've done. But charges were dropped. So I'm not dealing with that any longer. Um, and I'm just actively co-parenting and trying to live a peaceful and happy life and continue building myself. So with that being said, if you love to support me and follow me on Instagram, it is under F dot underscore Sherri. That's Sherri. And on Facebook, you can type in Francis Sherri and find me on there. That's the two main platforms that I use. I have like TikTok. I don't really use TikTok that much. So those are the main two if you'd like to contact me and support me.
Man, that's what's up. And like I said, keep up the great work. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep creating the life that you want to live. Cause that's what it's all about, right? Create the life that you want to live. And when you look back on it, like, I made it, I done it, I succeed, and I conquered. So that's what it's all about. So keep up the great work. I know we'll be back here Tuesday night here on the podcast. Our next guest is from the Holy Chicks Dropping Nuggets podcast. They gonna be hanging out with us. There's right here on Tuesday night. Talk about their podcast. Talk about the work they're doing when it comes to ministry and stuff like that. So we're very excited to have these two ladies on with us this coming Tuesday on June 13th. So y'all tune in with that. Also, man, y'all go to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the subscription numbers up. That's what it's all about. We thank everybody once again. Desiree for hanging out with us this morning. Comment section. Big shout out to Anthony as well. Big faithful supporter of the podcast. We thank him. He's doing great work as well out there in Chi-Town, Chicago, giving back. He's a veteran himself. So big shout out to him. Big shout out to Diane as well for coming in also. And what's Andy said? He said support the lovely ladies. This was all about. And he was like, support these great people. That's what it's all about as well. So we're about to get out
Thank you.
here.
I appreciate that. And thank y'all for having me. Like,
Absolutely.
big time.
And Diane, yes, definitely thank you for all the comments that you did and showing, Francis the support. I know that means a lot to her. So
She
thank
is
you.
so sweet. Like, so she lived in the neighborhood that my house was in. That's how I met her. And I was even hustling there. I was making drinks and margaritas on the weekend. I got my TABC and I was selling them in the neighborhood. So
Listen,
I'm a little
we're not allowed to talk about drinks yet. Remember, like, you
Oh,
can't let that
yeah.
in.
I'm sorry. Look, when you can, I got you. I got
Look,
you.
we'll get together on some drinks, but we gotta
Yes.
wait. We gotta wait just another day longer before I can enjoy those drinks. But we'll definitely go and have a girls' night and have some drinks and then continue this wonderful conversation.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I'd love it. We can see how we can, help support one another in what we do, and if not, that friendship alone is a good support. So
Yes. Yes.
That's it. So we better get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the graveyard. Everybody had one thing in common. They thought they were gonna see the mark, and they didn't. Let stuff like as our last. Remember, take time off yourself today. Look yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself I love you. Tell yourself we're gonna succeed. Tell yourself we're gonna conquer. Tell yourself we're gonna be successful. Most importantly, just tell yourself I love you. And not only that, tell yourself I forgive you too. Forgive yourself. We always talk about forgive people and stuff, but a lot of times let's forgive ourselves too, because that plays a role too. Forgive ourselves. Learn. They say take L's, turn into a loss, and just move somebody else along the way. So keep inspiring people you come in contact with. Put a smile on your face. Not only that, just your words alone could change somebody's life. So you never know what nobody's going through today. So man, y'all keep your head up. And me and Desiree, we back here Tuesday night here on Walking This Way Impact Wars Podcast. We'll be live streaming at 7 p.m. So we thank y'all once again. We'll see y'all on Tuesday night, everybody. Have a great, productive Saturday and enjoy today. Also, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I know it will be thunderstorms today. So whatever area you be in, y'all be safe, be cautious, because we know hell's storms be coming out of nowhere. It's crazy. So y'all be safe out there on today. So storms will be taking place, man. Y'all be blessed. And once again, me and Desiree back here Tuesday night here on Walking This Way Impact Wars Podcast. Have a blessed day, everybody.